Hi, I'm a nurse. I'm trained as a nurse practitioner, but I do not pretend to have any special skills or any knowledge that would supersede any healthcare provider that you would speak with. I am not here to give any medical advice, diagnose a disease. I'm only here to share some information. It's information you might find useful. It may educate you on how to read some information and where to look so that you can determine for yourself, along with the partnership of your healthcare provider, things that are best for you. I'm only sharing information with you. I read some things that were of interest to me because as a nurse, I've done the best that I could following doctor's orders to help some people that had cancers to have as comfortable of an end of life as they could, as we assisted them with relaxation and medications that would ease pain. In the course of doing that, I became very interested in cancers, as my entire family almost has been knocked out by cancers. I sought to study as I was in organic chemistry too, and I began to understand things that I didn't understand before. And then as I got into studying biochemistry, and a very smart, wise instructor that I had led me on the trail to study a substance called curcumin. It's just an extract from turmeric, and in certain formulations, it increases its ability to absorb in the body. I'm not saying that curcumin has any special properties. I'm not advising anyone to use curcumin. I'm saying that as I went on my trail of study for myself, I began to understand the mechanisms of action and the thousands of articles that showed curcumin had benefit to the human body, and that it had some, what I felt for me, were significant anti-cancer properties. As I got a little older, I became more aware of my skin aging, and I began to think about what I could do to reduce some of the skin aging issues that I was having. So when I read about curcumin, and I read that it could cause programmed cell death on damaged tissues or aberrant tissues or cancer cell tissues, I began to wonder if it could repair skin cells that were damaged from aging, from all the different aging processes and sun damage and everything else. Well, I started taking this orally back in 2010 after I read a bunch of research articles. And here in a few minutes, I'll share some of that with you. I won't bore you to death with all the studies because there's thousands of studies, but I am going to show you how to research on your own, the search string to put in, the words to put in, so that you can kind of get around all the commercial hype and then get down to the studies. The people that put the studies together are very smart people. Your doctor is a very smart person, much smarter than I am, much more capable, and is the person that is responsible for coordinating with you for your care. I am none of those things. I'm only sharing educational information with you. So I started taking curcumin for myself a long time ago. Some of my coworkers had some different things. One had tremendous rheumatoid arthritis. I gave him the search string so that he could read on his own. It was a nurse, and he started taking curcumin for his RA, and it had a significant positive influence for him. I'm not saying that curcumin did it. I'm just saying that he reported that he had a good outcome from it. There was another coworker that I worked with in an ICU that had tremendous allergies. Her nose was running all the time. She was going to have surgery done, and I shared with her the search string, printed out some of the research, gave it to her, said, "Have you talked to your doctor about this? I'm not saying that it works, but sure is interesting." She started taking curcumin and then started updosing until she had a relief of symptoms. And eventually she came to me and she shared, "Joe, that was good research data. Thank you for sharing it. It has changed my life. I am improved because I take curcumin. It's been a good thing for me." And I did not hear her for the rest of the time that I worked with her. I did not hear her having the terrible, constant nasal running nose sound. So I thought to myself, man, I wonder if it causes apoptosis on aberrant tissue but leaves normal cells alone. I wonder if I could just put it topically on the little age spots that were starting to pop up. And I had a big old dot here on my forehead that had come up, and it's gone now. I had this little bump was a lot bigger. It's gone now. I had on my elbow, I had on the inside, I had on the upper forearm, I had a dot that was about a little bit bigger than a pencil eraser, and it was raised about the height of an aspirin. And well, actually, it's about the size of an aspirin. And I started putting curcumin topically on it for a few hours once a week. And I can't say that it caused apoptosis in that the cell then just eradicated itself. But what I can say is the spots are gone. So I'm going to share with you some of the literature. Again, this is not medical advice. I'm not treating any disease or diagnosing anything, but it may be something of interest for you to communicate with your doctor. So let's get on and share some information. Hang in there. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so as we get started with kicking this off, again, what happened, I was very interested in anti-cancer information and what I could apply to my own life maintenance. And so I started looking through research articles that were referred to me by my organic chemistry 2 instructor. And so this was kind of the study that got the ball rolling for me. And this is an older study, but again, I read this in 2010, and I was looking for a formulation that was absorbable. And the name of this study, and that this guy here, well, these guys were at MD Anderson Cancer Center, and they were doing research. And the title of this article is "Curcumin in Cancer Cells: How Many Ways Can Curry Kill Tumor Cells Selectively?" In India, when you look on the world map for colorectal cancer, India has almost, colorectal cancer is negligible in their population. And one of the things that I noticed, it may not be the only thing, but one of the things that I noticed was they eat a lot of turmeric. Now, the curcumin molecule is so big, it has a hard time being absorbed, but it will stay in the GI tract, evidently, from the literature. And so they eat so much turmeric, they're just slathering their GI tract with curcumin daily. So then let's look at our next little article. And here, that same study, that overall a review shows that curcumin can kill a wide variety of tumor cell types through diverse mechanisms. The next highlighted sentence, furthermore, its ability to kill tumor cells and not normal cells makes curcumin an attractive candidate for drug development. So I thought, okay, and that's what got me started on the trail. And I read a bunch of other articles, and I'm going to show you how to research and find the articles that are more research-based and not commercial hype. Then they explained how apoptosis works, and that study, and that is apoptosis is also known as programmed cell death, and involves a series of biochemical events leading to characteristic cell morphology and death. And when I started looking at my skin spots, I was like, man, I wonder if the same mechanism will work. And we'll keep going. We'll read together here. So in our next study that we're going to talk about, and there's a bunch. You can certainly do your own research. I encourage you to do that. In our next article, the roles of curcumin in that same study, modes of cell death, apoptosis is also known as programmed cell death. So if I could take something and put it on a skin spot that would cause programmed cell death and not damage the other cells around it, then would that work? Apoptosis is also known as programmed cell death and involves a series of biochemical events leading to characteristic cell morphology and death. Okay, well, let me keep reading. In the next study, the roles of curcumin in regulating the tumor immunosuppressive microenvironment, and here are the authors listed there and the study, and they go on to say that curcumin can inhibit various malignant biological behaviors of tumor cells, including tumor cell proliferation and growth, invasion, metastasis, neoangiogenesis, bringing a blood supply to itself for food, and chemoresistance. Man, so as I continued to read here, I was really, began to wonder if this may actually work for, skin spots or skin anomalies or little skin tags that came up. And so when we continue to read here, and what else can curcumin do? So it's anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, and let's read what they talk about with the anti-aging. And it says, among several theories of aging, the most popular aging theory is oxidative stress. Now, you've probably heard of oxidative stress and you know how it ages and damages cells. But that's what actually the sun does, ionizing radiation, according to the literature. Ionizing radiation causes oxidative stress in your skin, ages it, damages the collagen, and makes you look older. And when you look older, sometimes you feel older. They go on to say diet is an essential factor in the process of aging. And on this channel, you will see that I have posted some information regarding a diet type. Dietary phenolics are advantageous for healthy aging and longevity via decreasing oxidative stress and modulating age-related signaling pathways. Next, the last line, antioxidant activity of curcumin was detected to be about 10 times higher than vitamin E. That's a pretty good antioxidant. So curcumin is one of the potent antioxidants with great potential to reduce age-related cellular damage. I'm getting older. A lot of us are. And why would I not want to age as healthy as I could? I'm not saying for anyone else. I'm just saying for me. Now, if you want to go look up your own research, and in this search string, if you want to get through the hype and get to the research articles and away from a lot of the commercial hype, what you can do in your search string is key in the words methods, conclusion, discussion, research, and in this case, the word curcumin, and then put in any disease process that you want to research. It could be autoimmune, it could be cancer, it could be arthritis, it could be Alzheimer's. Put in whatever word behind curcumin you want, whatever disease, and you can go read the research articles on how curcumin might affect it. I'm not saying curcumin is a treatment for anything. I'm just saying there's some interesting research out there. If you want to see how curcumin works, then the next search string is mechanism of action. And again, put in the words methods, conclusion, research, discussion, curcumin or any other drug, and then mechanism of action, and you're going to come across the studies that explain how it works. It took me a while to read some studies, and I got a biochem book after I finished Organic 2, and I jumped into that because I had to be able to figure out what some of these studies were saying. It would take me 3 or 4 days to read some of this stuff. And so, really smart people wrote these things. I'm not claiming to be smart. I'm not claiming to know anything. I'm pointing always to the PhDs that put the literature together and their teams that set these studies up. And then I lean on their learnings because they are super smart people. And I also lean on super smart doctors because they are because they're the ones that are consuming the research. They have a much higher level of training than I do, and I always look to those guys for recommendations and advice. And I think that's probably something that we all should do, is rely on our relationship with our doctor. I'm going to show you one more study, and it's in regard to curcumin formulations. So in this study, there is I'm listing here for you, so you can look it up for yourself. I don't want you to rely on me as any authority. I'm just pointing to research so you can read it for yourself. And these are curcumin formulations for better bioavailability. So as things have evolved, the technology and how to get curcumin to absorb better has come along, and they've made a wonderful chart here where they point out the different generations of the formulations and how they absorb. There was the first generation, the BCM 95 is what I still use for topical aberrations on my skin, and I moved up to a different formulation that's one of the ones that's in the rest of the upper parts of the chart, as these are now showing to have a greater absorption. And so I don't want to say that any brand is better than the other, and that's not the scope of this video. It's just to point you towards some of the different formulations that are out there, and then everyone makes their own choice for any product that they would purchase if they chose to do so. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it allowed you to learn some of the things that are out there that may not have been pointed to you before, and it may open a good conversation for you between you and your doctor. Good luck, and remember, nothing changes until you change. I wish everybody a great rest of their week, and hope this has been helpful. If you found this useful and you think that it may be useful to other people as well, please push the like and subscribe. It helps get the word out, and it helps us as well. Thank you very much. Talk to you later.